Bigfoot, the legend of the wilderness shadows in the forest deep within the untouched wilderness of North America, where fog curls between ancient trees and silence reigns supreme. A shadow moves silent, massive, and almost human. For centuries, whispers of this creature have haunted the edges of campfires and echoed through generations. Some call it Sasquatch, others simply Bigfoot, the guardian of the forest, the phantom of the mountains, the beast that refuses to die. The story begins long before modern man ever stepped foot in these lands. Indigenous tribes across the Pacific Northwest spoke of a towering being covered in hair, with eyes that gleamed like embers in the dark. They called it Tisamaquis skookum, or Oma. Not a monster, but a protector, a spirit of the wild. In their legends, Bigfoot was not evil, but ancient. It was said to walk the border between the human and the natural world, a watcher of balance, appearing only when the forest itself was threatened. But legends have a way of growing roots. As settlers arrived, they began to hear strange cries echoing through the night, long mournful howls unlike any wolf or man. Hunters spoke of finding footprints larger than their heads, pressed deep into the mud, too wide, too heavy, too perfect to be made by hoaxes or machines. And then came the stories, the encounters. In 1924, deep in Washington state, a group of miners reported being attacked by huge, hairy creatures that hurled boulders at their cabin. Newspapers mocked them until similar reports emerged across Oregon, California, and British Columbia. Soon, the name Bigfoot became legend. A creature standing nearly 9 feet tall, covered in dark brown or reddish hair, moving with impossible speed and strength. A face both beastly and human, eyes that seemed to understand. Even in the age of technology, the mystery grew. Footprints appeared in remote snowfields. Hunters swore they'd heard deep chest-rattling growls. And then the film. In 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin rode into the woods near Bluff Creek, California, and captured the now-famous footage. A towering ape-like creature walking upright, turning its head just once before vanishing into the trees. To this day, that grainy 16mm film remains one of the most studied, debated, and iconic clips in cryptozoology history. But what if Bigfoot isn't just a myth? What if something truly ancient roams those endless forests, something left behind from a forgotten age? Some scientists have suggested that Bigfoot could be a surviving relative of Gigantopithecus, a prehistoric ape that stood over 10 feet tall and once lived in Asia. When the Ice Age connected the continents through the Bering Land Bridge, could these ancient giants have crossed into North America and survived, hidden among the trees? Others believe Bigfoot is something far more mysterious, a being not of biology, but of spirit, a manifestation of the wild itself. The forests of the Pacific Northwest are vast and unyielding, millions of acres still unexplored, filled with secrets older than mankind. If there was ever a place for a creature to hide for centuries, this would be it. And then there are those who claim to have seen him. Truckers driving through misty mountain roads, campers waking to deep footprints outside their tents, hunters who felt watched from the trees. Their voices tremble when they tell their stories, not from fear alone, but from awe. Because to see Bigfoot, they say, is to look into something primal, something that connects man and nature in a single, unbroken chain. So who or what is Bigfoot? A missing link, a spirit, a living fossil that defies time. One thing is certain, the legend refuses to die. It breathes through every rustle in the woods, every echo that answers a hiker's call, every footprint that seems too perfect to be coincidence. Somewhere out there, beneath the towering redwoods and over the misty ridges of the Rockies, the shadow of Bigfoot still moves, waiting, watching, guarding the wilderness from the world of men. This is only the beginning. The hunt for the unseen, the legend of Bigfoot had already taken root in the heart of humanity. By the late 20th century, thousands of sightings had been reported, and the question echoed louder than ever. Could something this big, this powerful, and this ancient still walk among us? Scientists scoffed. Skeptics laughed. But deep in the wilderness, the believers, the hunters, began their search. The tracks that shook the world, it began with the footprints. Massive impressions, some measuring over 24 inches long, pressed deep into the ground with a stride that no human could replicate. Hunters, loggers, hikers, all stumbled upon these mysterious tracks, some frozen in snow, others baked into river mud. In 1958, bulldozer operator Jerry Crew found a set of enormous prints around his equipment in Bluff Creek, California. He cast the footprints in plaster and took them to his local newspaper. The legend exploded. They called the creature Bigfoot, and just like that, a myth became a movement. But skeptics claimed the tracks were man-made hoaxes, carved wooden feet strapped to boots. Then scientists examined the casts. They noticed pressure ridges, toe flexing, and skin ridges, subtle patterns that would have been impossible to fake in that era. Something real had made them, or something beyond understanding had learned how to imitate life perfectly. The evidence that never dies, and then, the footage that changed everything. October 20th, 1967. The Patterson-Gimlin film, a 59.5-second clip showing a tall, muscular creature striding along Bluff Creek, turning its head toward the camera before disappearing into the forest. For over 50 years, this footage has been dissected, stabilized, enhanced, and analyzed by scientists, skeptics, and filmmakers. No seams, no zippers, no signs of costume fabric, just muscle movement, fluid gait, and anatomy that matched no known animal. Some experts argued the limb proportions and stride length were non-human, while others insisted it was a man in a suit. But even Hollywood's top costume designers have admitted the technology to create something that realistic didn't exist in 1967. To this day, the creature in that footage, known as Patty, remains the most famous face of Bigfoot lore. The witnesses of the unknown. As the decades rolled on, the stories multiplied. Families camping deep in the woods reported hearing chest-rattling howls, wood knocks, and rocks being thrown from the darkness. Hunters found campsites destroyed, with prints circling the area like a warning. Truckers driving through Oregon claimed to see something sprint across the road faster than a bear, with arms that swung like a man's and eyes that gleamed red under the headlights. In Washington state, entire towns became obsessed. Bigfoot wasn't just a legend anymore, it was part of the local identity. Museums were built. Festivals began. Search teams formed. People spent their lives tracking shadows, following sounds, and chasing that one perfect piece of evidence that would finally prove it all. But with every new discovery came the same haunting question: why hasn't a body ever been found? The answer might be simpler than it seems. The forests of North America are vast, billions of acres, many never touched by humans. Animals die in silence, their bones scattered, their remains devoured by scavengers and reclaimed by the soil. If Bigfoot is intelligent, if it lives in small, hidden groups and avoids human contact, it could easily remain unseen for generations. The scientists entered the fray, then came the skeptics and the believers in lab coats. Anthropologists, biologists, and forensic specialists began to examine DNA samples, hair strands, and unidentified sounds. Some results came back as unknown primate, others as contaminated or inconclusive. Yet, there were moments, brief, astonishing moments, when science and legend nearly collided. In 2012, geneticist Melba Ketchum released a controversial study claiming to have sequenced DNA from samples linked to Bigfoot. Her results suggested a hybrid origin, part human, part unknown species. The scientific community rejected her findings, but believers saw it as confirmation that something extraordinary still walked among us. Sound recordings, known as the Ohio Howls and Sierra Sounds, revealed deep, resonant vocalizations that no known animal could reproduce. Even skeptics admitted whatever made those noises was alive, powerful, and intelligent. A legend reborn today. The hunt continues. From thermal imaging cameras to drone surveillance, the search for Bigfoot has evolved into a blend of science, technology, and pure passion. But for many, it's not just about proving the creature exists, it is about connecting to something greater. Because Bigfoot represents more than a mystery. It is the embodiment of the untamed world, a reminder that even in an age of satellites and smartphones, there are still corners of the earth untouched by man's control. And for those who've heard that echoing scream in the darkness, for those who've seen eyes glowing through the trees, the truth doesn't need to be proven. They've already seen it. They've already felt it. In the final chapter of our deep dive into the legend of Bigfoot, we enter the mysterious heart of the Pacific Northwest, where the forests breathe legends and shadows whisper secrets older than man himself. As night falls over the misty pines, the forest transforms. Every sound, every rustle of leaves, seems to carry a message. Hikers have vanished here without a trace, only to leave behind strange footprints, massive, deep, and human-like, yet belonging to something much larger. Some say they've heard a howl echoing across the valleys, a deep, mournful cry that freezes the blood. Hunters swear they've seen glowing red eyes peering through the darkness, watching, waiting. But among the myths and fear, there are those who speak differently. Indigenous tribes tell stories not of a monster, but of a guardian of forest spirit called Sasquatch, who protects the wilderness from human greed. According to their legends, Bigfoot is not a beast, but a bridge between the natural and the spiritual world. In 2019, a group of researchers set out on an expedition near Bluff Creek, the same site where the famous Patterson-Gimlin film was shot in 1967. They installed state-of-the-art cameras, thermal drones, and sound recorders. For weeks, nothing happened until one foggy dawn. They captured movement, a tall, upright figure walking through the mist, its stride slow and deliberate. The footage was brief, but it reignited global fascination. Could it be that Bigfoot has learned to avoid us too, disappear into the folds of time and trees? Or perhaps, As some cryptozoologists suggest, Bigfoot is an undiscovered species of Gigantopithecus, a prehistoric ape believed to have gone extinct 100,000 years ago. But what if it didn't? The mystery endures because we want it to. Bigfoot has become more than a legend. It's a mirror reflecting our own curiosity and our longing for wonder. In a world mapped and measured, we yearn for something wild, something untamed, that still escapes us. So the next time you wander deep into the forest, listen closely. Maybe, just maybe, you'll hear that distant crack of a branch, or catch the faint sound of heavy footsteps fading into the night. Because perhaps, Bigfoot never left.